What's going on, everyone? This is Jordan with Conquer Forex and with Conquer Trading and Investing, and we're getting ready right now for our New York live session together. It's going to be a good one going into the close of the week. It looks like a lot is developing overnight, and let's take a look at the markets together. We're starting here with the DXY. Slink, Mario, everyone joining us right now. Good morning. All right. I want to jump right into it because I haven't had a chance to look at the markets yet this morning. I want to see what's going on. First of all, just a quick look at the calendar. We had core retail sales out of Canadian dollar this morning. It looks like I exited my position perfectly yesterday. Happy about that trade. And we have this morning, okay, big news out of the that will affect the pound, and that's the Parliament Brexit vote. And we're going to be watching that to see what happens. My guess is that we appreciate off it. Let's see what happens. All right. So going into it on the DXY right now, we see that we have this little pattern developing. Whether or not this is, some are calling it a bull flag, or it's just a channel. Either which way. Right now, we're trading upwards after breaking out this resistance. This is now support. It's important here to focus because this is going to give us the clue what's going on with the euro, what's going on with the US dollar, Japanese yen, the two most heavily weighted, as well as the pound. Coming up into here, you see that we have our next resistance over here. It's pretty heavy resistance, this red line and this channel over here. This looks like the next place the dollar may test. You could see that I'm going to jump over to the euro. So you could see what that looks like as well on the euro. It looks to me like that support of that trend on the DXY will be right around here as well. Our next support we have here on the euro after taking out this support overnight. Looking pretty good. All right. So here's a look on the 8-hour. It looks like this could happen even during New York. Let's see what happens if we get a big move or not. But definitely watch this. You have to get above this trend line over here. You have to get above this trend line. You'll get a trend change at that point. The true trend will definitely be green. And you have to get above here to look for any further dollar weakness. Otherwise, as you butt into this channel up here, it could be a good area to take profits on US dollar pairs. Jumping over to the euro. Steve, good morning. I'm glad you're here with us. Hope you're doing well. Slink, two things before I even go further. I'm gonna take one moment here with you, Slink, and this is really important. All right, really quick. First, go ahead and register for this. This is all free. All right, Slink, start here. This is enough for you to become profitable and follow it. And you know what it's going to do? It's going to tell you that you should be using a cent account. Okay. And if you're trading a $66 account or a $50 account or a $100 account, then you should be using a cent account. Anything definitely under $500 is a cent account. And if you're using a cent account, you're going to be able to use the correct money management, and you could use you should never be risking more than 1%. You should be risking a 0.5% per trade. And you could do that with a cent account using $60. And here's the thing, if you learn how to make money on those $40, then you could just continually, you could save money elsewhere. You could save money on buying coffee, make coffee at home, save money here and there, learn how to spend less and save more, and then go ahead and build up that account. And if you're making money on the account, you know how to do it, you're going to be golden. But continuing the way that you are, you'll never make it. So go ahead and let's get you going in the right way. All right. And that means to stop trading until you know what you're doing. We're going to help you out with that. Yep. Yeah, so there's big news. Let's look at the pound before we look at the dollar. We don't need to look at the dollar. We know where we are right now. on the euro US dollar. We'll come back to it in a moment, but the pound is in play, right? We're seeing some gains on the pound. That was expected off of the support we had down here, right? So what's going to happen this morning? Well, we're going to find out. We have no idea. Is it going to crash through that support? Maybe. Do most people think it's going to crash through that support and go down on the news? Yep. So probably will it go up? Maybe. Doesn't matter. Let's just watch what happens because we're off of this support area down here. You see it? And if you start getting down into this channel over here, all right, then get ready to get short and you might get some good follow through. This would be one of the few opportunities coming off of this vote. If I saw, I'm not going to do it because I'm happy with my trades this week. If you came down took out a lower low here than the previous 8-hour price bar during London, you'd be at the same time taking out double support. This trend line, let me get rid of this. We don't need the true trend here. You'd be taking out this trend line support and this support I have in here and taking out the previous low of the 8-hour. And if you got short, your target could be somewhere down here. That's a nice trade, right? You stop right above here. That's a good trade potential. I'm not saying that when I say that's a good trade, I don't mean it's going to work out. I mean that going into the trade, the risk to reward is really favorable. It looks good. And what happens if you get into the trade here on the news, because news is very difficult to trade, and then price takes out this low, and then all of a sudden it just took out some stops down here and then reverses back up and makes higher highs over here. I don't know. You might want to think of reversing that trade. Now you know where your stop is to the downside, and your upside is still a really good risk to reward. All right. I don't know if I went too fast on that. And if I did, I'll take a look at it again. But what I'm getting at is because you're at such a sweet spot here, because you're on a support level, you have big news coming out in about 25 minutes. You know where you're positioned. If you make a lower low, you're breaking double support here, the trend line support and this support line right here, taking out London's low. Get in there short. Your target's all the way down here. All right, your stop's over here. It's a really good risk to reward going right into that trade. There's the possibility, because it's a high impact news event, that people get faked out. Maybe stops get taken out over here and then the price starts rising. Is it a good idea to get long over here? Maybe. You have a good risk to reward. Your stop's down here. You're targeting, you're moving your stop once you get over here to break even, and you're targeting somewhere up in here. Could price come down here, reverse up here, and then reverse down again? I've seen it happen during FOMC meeting minutes, rate decision releases. It could happen. Everyone, so glad to see you. Definitely really love our community. And Slink, not only there, focus there first because this is good and important, and then come over to here and read everything that we're doing. Read the guidelines that Alberto helped put together for swing trading, guidelines, what to do, what not to do. You'll find that position size calculator in here. Really good, important stuff. Go ahead and take advantage of it. On the pound, let's look at the pound Japanese yen. By the way, we were talking about this interview here with Stanley Druckenmiller yesterday on Bloomberg. I watched it yesterday evening, and I watched about 3/4 of it. Good interview. I really like Stanley, which is why I watched the interview. He's a really humble guy, especially for being one of the most successful Wall Street traders ever. He did mention that not only was he going for the Canadian dollar, Australian dollar, but also he did say the New Zealand dollar as well. So that was cool because that's exactly how we're kind of focused, our mindset, and short the yen. So he was kind of right there with us. Really interesting. And it's a good interview. You can find it on Forex Live. I'll put the link into the chat right now if you want to watch that. I don't know. I'm into it. I want to take out the pound Japanese yen with you right now. Yep, it's all about position size, and it's all about knowing what you're doing. And really following us for a very short amount of time, whether that's 2-3 week, by 2 or 3 weeks, you should have a really good understanding of what's going on and know what you need to work on and do. And you'll, instead of maybe not have understanding what to do, you'll have a great understanding of what needs to be done and where you need to focus and what you need to work on. And it doesn't look as clear to me, the pound Japanese yen. We're more inside the middle of this channel. We have supports down here to lean on. Better if we ever got down off of this trend line support down here. It's a good support to lean off. We buy off supports, we sell off resistance. This is probably the first thing traders need to correct. Oftentimes, I see there's a lot of money to be made selling up here. And a couple of y'all did that this week. But that's difficult to do. It's very difficult picking tops and picking bottoms. And it's much easier selling off of support, selling off of resistance, and buying off of support. I only take a few trades a week. I'm really picky about what I look for. I find that I'm much more profitable that way. I'm a little confused here on the pound Japanese yen. I don't really see a trade, and so going into this high impact news event, I wouldn't touch it. Longer term though, I was looking at this last night. I want to share it with you all right now. So let me go to a weekly chart. This is a weekly chart of the pound Japanese yen. We're expecting sometime for the pound to appreciate after they exit the EU. And we're expecting, possibly further Japanese yen weakness. So I was looking to see if it's possible to get it. The thing is I don't know how far down this will go. If England, if the UK exits with a hard exit, maybe we come down towards these lows. I have no idea. Or maybe this is the low today. I just have no idea. So I figured, you know what? It's nice. It's a nice thought experiment to look for, because where you're targeting a year or two from now, right? Will the pound be up or back up here? I don't know, maybe. But I figured, you know what? I'm just going to continue making money how I make money. Um, I was looking at the Australian dollar, Canadian dollar last night. Let's look at that right now. We could see that we're back up into the triangle pattern. I need to look at this in the 8 hour with you. Slink, I would not trade live right now. I would, first of all, you're coming into a holiday week. This is the last day of trading today, the 20th. The markets are open, but you should not be trading on Monday, the 23rd. You should not be trading on the 26th and the 27th, Thursday and Friday, nor the 30th and 31st, or the 2nd and the 3rd. You should return to trading on Monday, the 6th, right? This is when volume will come back into the markets. Until then, this is the perfect opportunity. You have a week and a half or 2 weeks in your own leisurely time. Go over the replays, go over the videos, and watch our daily tradings of the markets together. Any of that has the thumbnail of this right here, Learn Forex. Watch those videos, and you're going to be coming in strong next year. Dropping down to the 8 hour here. So we watched this during the live session yesterday. This is the Australian dollar, Canadian dollar. And we noticed that during the live stream, right here, price was making a higher high than the previous price bar than London, coming back into the pattern. And we were looking at, so here was the entry right when we said that yesterday. And during the live stream yesterday, if you go back and watch that video, we actually said here would be the entry as price is now making the higher high than the previous 8 hour price bar, coming back, regaining that support. I'm not going to take that trade because I'm already involved in 2 trades. But here's where we would take it, but I want to watch it to see what happens and how it develops. And that's, it wound up being a home run. I mean, not a home run, but a really solid double. It's a good trade, right? A really solid, good trade. And that's just good to know that we're able in real time to recognize it. And that's, but as far as getting back into that trade now, you're now in the middle, resistance, support. You're in dead center between that resistance above and that support here. You're not looking to get back into this trade right now. The next thing that will happen is you could look what happens off of this support, up this resistance up here. You could consider selling it if it's rejected by that resistance and comes back down, right? That'd be the next thing to look for. There's plenty of room here still. It's getting narrower. If it stays within this resistance and support, it'll keep narrowing down until it breaks up and out or down and out. And you might have, if price comes back down towards this support, another chance to go long if it resumes off it. But most likely, because of there will be trading going on next week, you should just avoid it. By the time that there's probably not going to be an entry here. So the thing to look at is not because you saw a good trade, how do you get involved in it now? Well, recognize how the trade occurred, teach your brain, train your brain to be able to recognize this stuff in real time, see how it played out, and then as the next trade develops on the next pair, you're going to be there. And that's the thing about the markets, is that the market's always going to be there, and there's always another trade. It's more about being prepared for it. And this one worked out great. I wish I would have took it. I'm glad I didn't. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. That's awesome. I do have to go to a different screen than the charts to see your charts. And I notice we have 2 thumbs down this morning, and that's just lots of love. And it's kind of funny that some people are so tainted about their life that that's what they do, but that's all good. You know, I'm sorry that I'm sorry for that for you. You know, it's pretty sad. So let's keep going. Can you imagine how wounded, you know? I don't know, maybe they didn't have anyway, let's keep going. I want to look at gold before we go any further. Gold is just continuing to sit, right? Gold is a non-play. Why is it a non-play? It's just completely hanging out within this channel right here, still in the center, still below this resistance. It's still got a lot of work to do, but until it gets above this resistance line here, I'm not considering buying it. And if it does make above this resistance line, then I'll be looking to buyer, right? Always look for the breakout first. Price has to close above the resistance on the daily. Then I look for the pullback and then the resumption of price. Could you sell off of here if price is rejected over here off this resistance? Let's look on the 8-hour. How much room do you have below? There's almost $10. That's pretty decent. The risk to reward would be good. I wouldn't do it though. I would wait for a breakdown below this. Now as this is coming up, this trend line, I would wait for a breakout below 1462. All right, let me keep going. Just want a quick glance at silver, which is probably also the same thing. And silver looks good here. You see silver is now up against this resistance of this trend channel. This was support. It broke over here, came back into the channel, that didn't hold, came back out of the channel, broke the support again, tested as resistance, and now is testing as resistance again. If this gets rejected here, this looks like a good opportunity to short. I don't trade silver. And if this gets back up into here, well then you might be coming up to test the upper end of this trade channel. That would also have gold probably testing upwards of the top of its channel at the same time. All right, I mean, so I'm gonna pull up the true trend for this. This is first on the daily. We saw that the entry CCI, the blue line here, had been overbought for a long time, right? So it was inevitable that this would happen. All right, so this where do you lean in? You got to look for the next support, step back. I think the support to look for, the first support is this trend line. If price comes back into this trend line, right, you're going to still be in a strong uptrend. You'll have the entry CCI pull back, and that might be an opportunity to get long again. Right now, you just want to back off here and just give that a little bit of time. We have about 9 minutes here until the Parliament Brexit vote. And I don't know. I'm not trading this live. I'm not following it. I don't know whether or not how long that vote will take. We could check it out here. Go to Forex Live. Wilford, that's a great question. And so use the daily time frame. Use the daily time frame for setting your support and resistance levels for your trend lines, right? Don't I just went to the daily true trend here because I knew that we were, even on daily we were going to be overbought for so long, just to kind of give you a view of what that looked like. But on the daily, set your support and your resistance levels. All right, and use the 8 hour. Use the true trend. Okay, on the daily, don't use the true trend. Just go ahead and use your. This is stepping back to a higher time frame is easier to set support and resistance levels, and then come back down to the 8 hour to get more precise and use the true trend there. Indices are again, they look like they're going to be opening up pretty well and setting new all-time highs. Um, well, if anyone is looking at something they want to check out, definitely let me know. I'm having a blast going over these pairs right now. I want to see what the euro is doing though. Euros is, as we're about 7 minutes to the US equities open, is pushing towards the lows of the day ever since it broke down of this support. This is now probably far enough of a break to call that resistance. And I think the next target area is down there. I'm trying to see whether or not that's a place that someone would look to buy off of. I think if you go at the same time, we look at the DXY. And as the euro gets down there, if we're up in this area over here, then I think, because this is pretty strong resistance you got in two places. And if price is up here at the same time, the euro's coming into that next support level, then if price does resume off that support and that support holds, that does look like a pretty good place to buy the euro. Right over here. Let me darken this up a little bit now. I think it's a little more important than it was. Um, and of course, if that level does not hold, look for first the break, look for the test. If it holds as resistance, you got some nice room to the downside. Really nice room to the downside. Let's see what develops. It gets interesting to watch now. Can move her up a little bit as she's getting a little bit better. I think similarly, again, as we get closer to that next support on the euro US dollar, it looks like the euro Japanese yen might be closer to leaning off of these trend line supports. Much better place to buy here. Down here would be a really good place to buy. Right now, just standing aside on the euro Japanese yen, I even want to mark that as yellow. The euro Australian dollar, the Australian dollar has been very strong. All right. So we had here, price had been trading for a couple of weeks or a few weeks, right? In between this resistance and this support here on the euro Australian dollar. If you were looking to go long, it would have been before today. Today we broke support. You see how strongly we broke support? So you would have been looking to buy down here if this support held, and if on the 8-hour time frame price started making a higher high. That didn't happen. Instead support broke. This is now becoming resistance. And I also, before I jump down to the 8-hour, which I want to do with you, just noticed that between this resistance and support was a pretty congested area, and price was sideways. So I was not trading it at all. Anyone who got in up here, selling the resistance up here, and then watching what happened down here, awesome. It's not my style, but good trade. So you could see here, going back to Asia, if price during London would have made a higher high here on the 8-hour off of this support, this is now marked as resistance red, this was green, and price made a higher high here, that would have been a buy. I could see you buying there, definitely. But price didn't do that, and instead took out broke the support, and it didn't even give you a chance to test back that broken support. It's a pretty strong break, right? So now you're not looking to buy, you're looking to sell. But could you sell over here? You're back at another support level. No, you don't want to sell over here. You want to wait and see if price comes back and trades up and comes back up towards this resistance, or the first opportunity you get here, because this is a strong breakdown. If the entry CCI were to come back and be positive, to be positive against this strong downtrend, the first opportunity, you saw that happen, and then price resume back down. If that occurred during London or during New York, you could get short again. Right now, the break happened and you're waiting and watching. You should only be focused on the short side right now. After taking out this support, it's definitely a strong sell. And look how strong the move is. So that's a good look on the euro Australian dollar. Let me come back to the daily. So you got wrecked. I see you're looking at the peaks of these spikes over here, but keep following my mouse, and you see the peaks of the spike over there and over here. Go over here in this area though, come down, and now you see where my support line is, and you see that you have the support here. The resistance is where the spikes didn't hold. It's the open and closes. Keep going to the right. That's where I have it. You are correct that we are at that support of these upper wicks, but because it's upper wicks, I consider it to be very light. That's why price stalled there. Now go to the DXY, you got wrecked. Same thing, you could see that price is towards this. It's very light, but up here you could see it much stronger. This is where the resistance is. Things are noisy always. I look for the strong support and resistances. Those are the ones I look for, and I hope you're getting can see it a little bit clearer now. Although we're at something right here, the stronger support is down here right now. And again, I'm actually darkening this a little bit now because I'm paying it more mind, only because it will coincide with us on the DXY being at that strong resistance, the support. So I'm sorry, but for me, for you, for everyone else, I find it really beneficial. You all know that I'm choosy about my setups. Um, I find it really beneficial to looking for the strong support levels to buy off of and the strong resistance to sell off of. It's really I think if you go in what to do, it's really beneficial. Um, because you're seeing the market clearly there when you recognize that there's something here. The euro's trading at a support right now. Because look, if I just put my mouse there and then you look horizontally, you could see all the touches, right? But they're wicks over here. And then if you go down lower, you could see that these are closes. Sorry, down here, these are closes. I was looking for where it talks about how choosy I am. Either which way. Let's keep going. I want to see what else is going on. Let me check the news feed here. I'm so glad I got out of this US dollar Canadian dollar trade yesterday. It has since come all the way up, but I want to jump to it now because there's possible other setups setting up. Again, look at the DXY. You know that we're coming into that resistance. At the same time we came into that resistance, the US Canadian dollar should be up higher towards this resistance. Hold on. Let me start on the daily here. There's a lot going on, and I want to take a strong look at it with you. All right. First of all, we had this resistance here drawn in. Price stopped at it today. It's not such a strong resistance though. It's much stronger here off this trend line with this other resistance also coming into play with it, right? So yeah, off that strong move, you would expect price to people take profits into that resistance where they have, but I won't be looking to get short again until we get into this area over here. If we get into this area over here, and then price resumes off it, I'll be on the 8 hour for that, right? All right. So would you be wrong with the true trend here, solidly down and in a strong downtrend, entry CCI pulled up, coming off of this resistance? If you were to go ahead and sell this, if price made a lower low, no, that's a pretty good trade. If I were doing that, what I would do though is my stop would be all the way up here. So my position size would be pretty small, smaller than if I was taking a short up here and my stop was right here. Yeah, that really set it on fire this morning. But again, I think, things could change, and you have to be able to change your mindset with them because the market is an ever flowing piece of body of information that's always adjusting itself. So right now, personally, we're seeing that we have a bit of risk on. We're expecting further Japanese yen weakness. We're expecting Australian dollar, New Zealand dollar, Canadian dollar, to appreciate. We're expecting oil to appreciate. And I look at this as a further selling opportunity here. If we get over in here, until and unless, if this breaks out here, if this trend line, let me look on the daily with you. If the US dollar breaks up out of this resistance here, this red line, and above this channel over here, and starts coming up, then all bets are off. The dollar is going to be pumping. The dollar will be where you want to focus. But until that happens, until proven wrong, you got to go with the trend that seems to be in place. I would not be surprised at all if the dollar broke out of this to the upside and we came back up and tested up near 99.50 over here or made new highs. I would not be surprised at all. But right now, that's not what, right now I'm respecting this resistance up here, hoping it's going to hold, expecting it's going to hold. And if it doesn't, then party time. We'll just play it the other way. A lot of uncertainty for me here on the New Zealand dollar, US dollar. I still do not see how to get into the trade. It's it's a tough one for me. It's tough to even analyze. We seem to be in this area, and just go all the way back. Let me look at the weekly. So I think definitely up here is the stronger resistance. I'm trying to see if it's stuck at resistance right now, and it's small, right? If you look where price is, you see that wick down there, these wicks over here. It's held up, but it doesn't seem to be that strong. You know, I gotta look at the daily with you. You can hear my voice; it's very unclear, and I don't see an edge. And I would not be surprised in the least if this continued, and we got a look up into here. But I it's not clear for me, so I avoid it. Then I just look for where it's just clearer pictures. Same exact thing here in the New Zealand dollar, Japanese yen. It's just murky and cloudy, and I don't see an edge. I don't have any clarity for getting into a trade. And there's just so many opportunities elsewhere to focus in on. US dollar, Japanese yen is holding off of this support down here. Let's see what that looks like on the 8-hour. So this is a potential buy-in opportunity right here. As we've seen the yen come off for a while now, for a couple sessions. You could see here this support is holding down here. If you were to take an entry over here, if we made a higher high over here than London, and what's your risk to reward? I guess your stop would have to be. I'd probably have my stop pretty tight, like at 109, 108. And your first area to look for moving your stop to break even is a little better than a 1-to-1. So It's okay. It's not screaming something that I want to be involved in, but I could see it happening, right? Definitely not screaming, I want to be involved in this and I'm going to take this trade. I'm not going to, but you could see that it is a possibility. You have a little bit better than a one-to-one risk reward going into it. You would, if you did take this trade and were able to move your stop to break even here on a test of this level over here, and then you could possibly getting yourself in for a good solid trade, but I don't see it. Curious if anything is developing. U.S. conservatives win vote, and let's see if there was any reaction from the pound. I don't see my pound pairs. Seems like no reaction yet. It's a formality. New all-time highs on the indices. So wait, I'm just curious if anyone has any idea. This is saying that the UK is certain to be out of the EU by January 31st. Um, is that this year, 2019? I I had heard the EU chief negotiator say that they wouldn't get a deal to the earliest 2021. Does that mean that the UK is leading toward a hard exit? I'm not familiar with the situation. I would like to be. If anyone has any idea of what's going on, please let us know. Okay, okay, that makes a lot more sense. Thanks, Rustin. All right, what else are we looking? Who's watching something this morning you want to take a look at that we should focus in on? I'm interested in watching this level if we get down to it during this session today. So there seems to be a lot more uncertainty regarding UK politics. Um, Again, if things start getting bad and the pound really were to come off, that's why trading is so tough. If pound was able to really come off, I think it's a long term, really good buying opportunity. I think ultimately, as soon as they do leave, the USA will definitely put them at the top of the queue, and they're going to do a trade deal with them right away. I think it's going to really benefit England overall being out of the EU. And right now, it's very uncertain what is going to take place as far as what kind of deal they get out with, how they get out, and there's going to be a lot of brinkmanship on both sides. So I'm not looking to do anything as far as long-term pound is concerned, but if prices were to really get attractive, then I would be. That's where I am, Steve. As of right now, I still have an open trade I'm managing here on the Australian dollar, Japanese yen. I'm letting that continue to run. Um, and I'm not looking to take any new trades. I will definitely be looking at the markets on the 26th and the 27th, right? I'm gonna but it'll be short. It'll be about 20 minutes or a half hour. Um, those probably will not be live streams, but I'll upload them. Also on the 30th and 31st, and then on the 2nd and the 3rd. And the reason I'm going to do that is so that I continue to be in the flow of the market. Because if you just look at the market cold, it's very difficult to trade. You're not going to be able to trade successfully, because it's really, really, really important to have the pulse of the market, and you need to um, you know, the same way, if you were about to run a marathon, those couple of days before the marathon, you're not just taking a cold rest, you're still going out there, for a light tune up for 15-20 minutes. Same thing, you want to be coming in on the 6th here, when you start trading hot. You want to, as if you never stopped. And I will be doing, definitely keeping the flow of the market myself, but not trading during that time. Of course, I mean, I hear them, right? I totally understand that perspective, Rustin. I'm a firm believer in freedom. This was interesting. None of us, I don't think we're looking at this. We had this support line drawn in down here. Price has come all the way down off of the support. Entry would have been during London. I don't think I would have taken it, but I like to look at this right now, because I should take this type of trade, and I kind of want to just affirm it and absorb this, right? So, so that subconsciously coming into the future, that I'm able to take advantage of something like this. This is such a good trade, because the risk to reward is insane, right? You have your stop down here below, as the trade triggers here during London. Your stop is just down here below, right? Right here, right now, I would have moved my stop to break even, and I would not even do anything else. I would just hold. And if I got stopped out, I got stopped out. I don't care, but just to see if anything else developed, I would give it the opportunity. Again, if you guys want to look at anything, let me know. I think that, oh, okay. So this is interesting to look at here. We were looking at this yesterday. This is the euro British pound, and it looks like we were using this resistance line right here, and price has not been able to hold the breakout. All right. But, and again, the entry off of this broken resistance here, had it turned to support, the entry would have been the first time we came back and tested, and price made a higher high, which hasn't occurred. It's not going to occur during this session either. So I'm looking whether or not this resistance was put in a good place, and I think it is. I think it's really good. You see the close here, the touches, the touch, and then it broke through in the touch. So, does this become a sell now if price makes a lower low? It could, you know. It's at an interesting point. Price didn't hold. It didn't hold. It broke out of the resistance. It hasn't hold. It came back and touched that area. If price makes a lower low here during New York, is that a place to look for a sell? It might be. Um, you know you're wrong right away, so it's a good risk to reward. The reward is pretty fantastic actually, right? So I actually like it. And then you know you're wrong right away if you're wrong. If you were wrong, I wouldn't take a buy until price came and tested that broken resistance successfully and then traded up off it. But selling here, if price makes a lower low during New York, that's interesting, and I like it. I want to keep that. I want to follow that. This is the Australian dollar, New Zealand dollar. This looks pretty interesting also. This is not the type of thing that normally we look at and trade off of, but this looks like a bottoming pattern happening here. And then what I do focus on is we had these two trend lines here, and you could see that when price finally held, a lot of stops are taken out here. You see this on this wick, and now price is broken out of this resistance of this other trend line here. This goes back a while. So what the way that I would play this, obviously, is now that we've broken out. Um, well, it's bad timing. We're coming into a holiday week, so obviously I'm not going to get involved here. But I'm going to extend this trend line and watch if we get another touch of it and then come off of it. That would be a good buying opportunity. If this was a normal week and not a Friday and coming into a holiday week, and then you know price during London went on to make a higher high, I think this would be a good entry here on this pair. But because of the timing of it, I'm just going to be watching it. But I like the setup that's developing here. I like how you have the breakout here of this trend line. It looks like we're bottoming. You have the breakout here, and then now we're getting the first pullback, giving us an opportunity to think about getting long. True trend hasn't changed yet. That's okay. Again, the support and resistance definitely supersede the true trend on the 8 hour. I have to become familiar where everything is so I can help you. That's a good poll. I'm interested to see how others would answer before I do. I'd be interested to see if how you would answer, and then in parentheses how you think I would answer. DJ, I saw that. I saw that. I know what the answer is. That was pretty insane. Um, but definitely, if you have it off the top of your head, let us know. Um, I think I remember what stocks were and what the overall winner was by far. Yeah, Blair, there's no question about it. There's not a question that I would for 10 years pick Bitcoin over gold. Um, ideally though, for me, I would pick. Um, I know it might be pretty high as far as allocating 30% to gold and 70% to Bitcoin. But you know, I think I would be comfortable doing that. The Chinese and Russians are buying a lot of gold for a long time, and you're now seeing Poland take back their gold. The UK has been holding it ever since World War II. Poland took it all back. Germany is taking theirs back. Um, you know, I love gold. I guess the wild card for me is what will the USA do? They know that these other people are de-dollarizing. They know that they are hoarding gold. What will the USA do? Um, I don't know. We're going to find out. The United States holds the most gold by far, although the last time Fort Knox was audited was a long time ago. Supposedly the US holds the most gold by far. I I wouldn't be surprised. Well, on their word, you know. But so as a Bitcoiner, it's the motto is don't trust, verify. There's no way to verify how much gold the USA owns because it hasn't been audited in some ridiculous amount of time, more than decades. right? So how do you know how much gold they have? You have no idea. You're trusting them, right? With Bitcoin, you could verify. That's insane. That's insane. That's insane. To DJ, a cup of coffee at today's prices, a cup of Starbucks at today's prices, who could buy a house, right? That's insane. All right, or $100 make you a millionaire. No, 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 no. $10 would make you a millionaire. A lot of people who bought Bitcoin, for example, at you know, say it was $20, sold it at 30. They thought that was an awesome investment and return. Think about that. The one thing that I wish I knew as a 20-year-old when it came to investing was that you need to be long-term mindseted, right? Um, I really wish I would know. I wish they'd teach about money and investing in school. It's unbelievable that they don't. And I really wish I would have known that. I remember watching the TV. I think it was I forget the year. I think it was 2000. I think it was 2001 or 2002. I don't remember the year, to be honest. But I remember seeing Apple stock trading at $22, and I remember thinking to myself, "Wow, that is really low." Um, and if I had just put, $1,000 or $2,000 into it and held it, until today, I really wish that I had been long term minded. You know, and for me right now, Bitcoin 10 years, looking out in the horizon of 10 years is that's the minimum time frame I'm thinking. But I think it's really, or with compounding money, that's big. That's in this $1 is Bitcoin. That's consider that one Bitcoin. So let's say that someone had $2,000 that they were investing in Forex, and they were growing that for 10 years with, let's say, a 15% return. All right. Now, what happens if you do that another 10 years? Same return, 15% a year. By the way, if you were to go ahead and just follow this system alone, the simple and easy trading strategy, I think you'll have somewhere between, well, at least a 20% return yearly. All right. So let's say do this for 20 years. That $2,000 is $32,000. What happens if each year you added $100 a month? And now what happens if you did this for 30 years? So I mean, anyone could do that, but you have to not be thinking about like trying to make over leveraging yourself, over positioning yourself, and trying to make a lot of money out of nothing in 1 month, as opposed to growing a very small amount of money for 30 years. What happens if the return was 20% a year over those 30 years? That's a lot of money. That's a lot of money. And if that type of planning is too cumbersome, too long minded for people, well then, you're probably never going to get rich. DJ, so the question is, would Bitcoin be worth what it is today if he never bought those pizzas? Um, so now I want to do one more thought experiment with you while we're doing this, because this is the first time we've ever done something like this before. Let's go 30 years is a long time. It's going to come whether you like it or not, though. Let's go to 10 years. All right. Let's start. We're doing 10 years. We're starting at $2,000. We're adding $100 a month, or $1,200 a year for 10 years at a 20% return yearly. All right, which gets us to $50,000. Now, what happens instead of trading your Forex account in dollars over these 10 years, you were trading it in Bitcoin? Okay. And what happens if the price of Bitcoin, which is now, I don't know what it is, $7,200, right? What happens if Bitcoin is trading at, well, I'm going to go super conservative here. Well, let's see what it should be. Hold on a second. All right, the projected Bitcoin price 10 years from now, well, 6 years from now, right? It's above $1 million. No, yeah, that's two halvings away. Do I think it'll be there? Yes. So let's do something super conservative. Let's do something super conservative, in my opinion. Let's say that Bitcoin in 10 years has made it to the same exact uh, has the same exact market cap as gold, $7.5 trillion. Okay, because Bitcoin, once it reaches gold's market cap at $7.5 trillion, at this point, 10 years from now, Bitcoin is way more scarce than gold. In May, it'll be as scarce as gold. 4 years from now, it'll be more scarce than gold. And 10 years from now, it'll be way more scarce than gold. Let's say that Bitcoin is on par with gold's market cap. That puts each Bitcoin at $325,000. That's my math I did last year. So divided by 720, that's a 45x from now. So if you take your $50,000 times 45, that's $2,250,000. All right. So if you don't have, if you do have $2,000 and you don't want to wait 30 years, and you're looking to possibly really make a difference in your state of life, that seems to me to be pretty sound risk to take. That's why I'm sharing it with you. Rustin, I believe Gaddafi was looking to make, with all his gold, through all of Africa, a currency backed by gold, and in order to buy oil with, or sell oil, and I don't think the U.S. liked that. Terrible. Markets are at or near their highs. I think going into this week, we talked about that we thought it would be risk on, and especially going into the holidays. You also have to be aware, actually, if you watch that video that we shared the link in earlier with Stanley Druckenmiller, he does talk about why he expects this year to be pretty stable. It's an election year in the US. Obviously, the administration is going to do everything they can. He seems to have the Fed behind his back. Be back in just a little bit. Hey, Chris, good to see you here with us. Welcome. Sounds like you're all over the place. I would just take a moment, figure out what we're doing, how we're doing it. Uh, not just random stuff, nor just shouting out just some random stuff. We got. You know what, Chris? Why don't you start over here? Follow what we're doing over here on the live streams. I think it'll really help you out. Um, if you're only selling Bitcoin, watch out, buddy. Yeah, I don't I don't think so. I don't think so, being from what you just came in here saying. So you know, glad you're here with us. Really would like to work with you. But when you jump into any place, any new place, it's a good idea to get an idea of your surroundings before jumping up. That's awesome. I mean, if you have experience, then you'll wind up fitting in really well and enjoying the community, what it has to offer. But honestly, sound advice: just first take a moment to see what's going on. Maybe watch a replay or two. That's all you would need, and then I think then you would fit in nicely. Yeah, I mean, that's one way to look at it. From my experience, playing for the swamp over pips does not work out well. You know, if you've only been trading for a few years and you've been taking positions toward the swamp, meaning that you've been bullish on the US dollar, that's worked out really well. In the long term, that's not going to work out really well for you. So just be careful. Understand that pips is where it's at. Swamp is actually very little. You could just look, for example, over at the Australian dollar, US dollar over the past month. And if you were trying to collect that little swamp over here, it doesn't even add up. I think he's talking about like a leveraged account, such as BitMEX is right now paying shorts. Is that correct, Chris? There we go. We got the euro, British pound making now new lows. Being rejected off this resistance. Let's look down on a small time frame, see what that looks like. That looks pretty textbook right there. You could see this. Here's where the resistance broke. It actually did on a small time frame here, hold that support, came down, held again, broke through. Here's the broken support, and then it held as resistance. This looks good to the downside right now. Right there. So what are that? Right around 1 hour and 15-minute mark. Hey, Chris, I would have a look right around here when we discuss Bitcoin here from a longer term perspective here. I think that'd be really helpful to you. I think that'd be really helpful for you. Hey, that's a good attitude, Chris. It is always really important to be seeing, especially when people have different views than you. And when it comes to investing, that's the most important view to be aware of, one that's different than your own thesis. Solid attitude. This video right here is also, it's really short, really informative, and really good. And it would kind of show you that right now, if you were short Bitcoin, um, it's a good video. It's very short, lot of solid information in there, and it would basically be showing you that if you were short Bitcoin at those levels where we were just a couple of days ago, then you would actually be, not that you just watch the video, really helpful, really important. And one other video that I'd really focus in on is this first video here on the Bitcoin halving, which really explains well how the halving cycles work, looking at the past halving cycles. And we were trading at the bottom or close to the bottom of this reaccumulation level. And if we broke any lower, if we broke below 6,000, we would actually, it would be the first time that's ever happened in a halving cycle. And not that that could happen. Bitcoin could go to zero, but things would be really off. You're just selling into something that is really going against past trends, and that's difficult to do. I just saw that without looking at the moving average, that it was coming into some trouble up here, and right there, that's what I was looking at. It's butting into. You're saying it's coming into the moving average right here. I see that the entry CCI is pretty overbought, so interesting point to watch. I see the euro is actually stalling out right here, right now in this moment, but we got a lot of trading here left until the London close. Indices look like they're holding up towards their highs of the day. Nope, Dow's off. S&P's at the high of the day. Crude coming off more. Look at that, that's nice. So just be aware. Again, we said it earlier. A lot of retail was very, very bearish right here. I was looking for it to hold the support. It's not until it breaks below the support that I would think about getting bearish. And generally, as you're coming to resistance, people tend to be pretty bullish, and as you come into support, people are pretty bearish. You got to reverse that thinking in yourself. Yeah. Yeah, I'm with you. I average about 3 trades a week. I really am picky about my setups. I wait for them. So this is really where we're at, right? This is what we've been talking about. And then over here, it says suggesting the
Also, Australia, New Zealand dollar has probably bottomed out. We just looked at that in this live session today. It's exactly what we're seeing possibly occurring. I would love to see your US dollar make a run into this support during this session, which means over the next hour and 20 minutes. That's right, Hanera. This is the last trading day going into the Christmas holiday. I have my Australian dollar, Japanese yen, the last trade I have open here into profit. My other trade this week was the short US dollar, Canadian dollar, where I took off the first piece and then the second piece yesterday during the live stream. Great week. I have here, if we get down into the support and I finish taking profits on a separate strategy here on the Euro US dollar, I'll be going into the holidays as best as could be possible. So, and I'm also long here on my automated, where I trade the pound US dollar, euro, Japanese yen, and pound Japanese yen long here. Nice into profit. Hey, Nero, I really enjoy working with you. I appreciate that. You really add a lot to the community, and I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful Christmas as well. Look at the pound versus the Canadian dollar today. Off those weak retail sales out of Canada. Um, I do not. I definitely do not think there will be a financial crisis this coming year. There could be one. by the end of this year, but within the next 2 weeks still, the Fed, again, is being over accommodative. They are injecting $500 billion in order to keep things afloat. Obviously, something's wrong, although I think that they are being over accommodative on purpose and that things should be okay. Froggy Prince, I think next year is going to be pretty, at least at the beginning of the year, we're going to continue to see risk on. I think we're going to see a weak Japanese yen, strong Australian dollar, strong New Zealand dollar. I think we're going to see oil bid, Canadian dollar bid, and I think that they'll be able to keep the music playing a lot longer than anyone expects. The interview yesterday of Stanley Druckenmiller, let me pull it up for you. You should really watch. He gives his outlook for 2020. This guy is a legend. He has one of the best performances, or the best performance. He did over 30% a year for 30 years. He's the man who took down the Bank of England. What he talks about, what he foresees happening in 2020. It's really everything we've been saying here for the past couple of weeks as we've talked about it. He has a lot more insight. He's a lot more knowledgeable. Watch this video, and he says that usually it's after an election that you would see some type of turmoil in the market. All right, so we could look down maybe at what happens after 2021, after the next election. You know, these guys are really good at just keeping the music playing. That's what they do. And, you know, anything could happen. If it happens, we'll be, but I'm not betting on a crisis coming this coming year at all. It's adverse to what I see happening in the markets. And, you know, the debt. And then after that, who knows what's going to happen, you know? I have a feeling the next thing we're going to see is out of the USA is we're going to see a lot of infrastructure projects. A lot of money is going to go into stimulating the economy through building out infrastructure. If a democratic socialist is elected, we're going to see a lot of socialistic programs such as free healthcare, maybe free university. And those things keep things going much longer until they end badly, like Venezuela badly. But right now, I think that, and he goes on to say the greatest risk right now is commercial debt. I think we are seeing the Australian dollar run into that resistance up above. Take a quick look. Blair mentioned we had a 200-day moving average. Bumping up against it right now. About an hour and 15 minutes to the London close. I can't believe I'm looking at 5-minute charts. US dollar, Mexican dollar is at a very interesting point. You had yesterday the Mexican central bank cut interest rates. They said that they see their economy stabilizing. We'll see. And you have the USMCA trade pact was signed this week. You see definitely the strong appreciation of the peso going into that. And right now it is holding off this support. It's pretty big support, although it's not just that one line. It's this double area that is, you know, a supply zone right here. But Prince, watch that video. It's a good one. It's a really good one. It's almost down to the last hour of trading through the year for myself personally. That's a good quote. I'm not sure what's obvious right now to people. That's for sure. I think most people are pretty bearish the dollar right now, is what I gather. I'll be selling off of this resistance, but I would not be surprised in the least if we broke out over here and then we saw some pretty strong moves on the dollar. I'm not sure what the crowd's thinking right now. I kind of live in my bubble here. It's been nice seeing, things that we talk about here together, and then seeing affirmations coming from other people, such as when Stanley Druckenmiller talks, I pay attention. Paul Tudor Jones talks, I pay attention. I think a lot of people are expecting a financial crisis. I think that's what people are expecting. I don't think that's going to happen. I think most people are expecting the indices to sell off. I don't think that's going to happen. Looks like we're seeing the yen weaken. We were talking about, here's where you have the euro's weak and then the yen. That's the support I'd be looking to lean off of. I'm interested in what the US dollar, Japanese yen is doing in this moment, with two of them weak today. They're kind of mixed. It's really the Australian dollar strength, pound strength, and dollar and yen weakness that is the focus this morning. Angelo, welcome. I am glad you're here with us. This is actually our last live stream of the year. Please go back to the channel in this time off that we're going to have, or during the holiday, go ahead and just watch a few of these live streams. Anyone with the thumbnail here that says Learn Forex, you watch a few of these, and you're going to be coming coming into a position of strength. You could go ahead and in the description here of this video, you could join the free Forex trading program. This is everything we do in the live streams. You have this strategy here that's it's all free. You have this strategy shared here, which is a great place for a beginner or anyone who's not yet profitable to start at. And this is alone all you need. And then here's kind of all the guidelines for what we do in here every day that some of the group members help put together. And I think you go through this information and you're going to have a huge head start coming into the next year. So I'm looking to lean against this support down here on the euro US dollar. I'm obviously very interested what happens in the next hour going into the London close. But in the more interim picture, I'm looking to see what it does off this support, whether or not price bounces off it, if it holds, or if it breaks. If you look at the DXY at the same time, you'll notice as we come into this support here, we would be coming closer to this resistance right here on the DXY. All right. So I think we still have some more room. And I'm hoping to get that in the next hour before the London close. That would just make going into the holidays gravy for me. If that doesn't happen here by the London close, I expect, to see a little bit of retracement. And by a little bit, I mean, maybe 15, 20 pips during the New York lunch. So, Hanero, a couple of things. First thing is, we won't continue our live streams into January 6th. I will send out a schedule of what to expect as far as our live streams and what uploads I'll do. If you go ahead, Hanero, and if you're not already, just yesterday, I created this update system. Just go ahead and put your email on there, and then I'll update you the schedule we'll be looking at up until we begin a live again on January 6th. I'll talk about the days that I'll be doing uploads. I will also be doing a couple of Bitcoin videos during that time. Huge passion of mine, and there'll be uploads to the channel during this time. Obviously, between the 23rd and 26th, nothing, but probably around this time. I'll be updating you all through. If you go ahead and you're subscribed here, you'll get all the new updates that are coming. And then you could always just be on the lookout as we get closer to January 6th. This is when we'll resume our live streams, and then we'll just continue as always Monday through Friday our live streams. New Zealand, I know Blair is involved in the New Zealand dollar today. It's very difficult for me to trade. I'm going to start here on the daily. And so if things are not clear for me, then I look elsewhere. I look for clarity. I stay away from volatility, right? I stay away from uncertainty and I go where things are clear. And right here on the New Zealand dollar, US dollar, although it's, you know, it's definitely overall bullish, it's unclear what to do here for me. Um, and I feel like it's having trouble getting above this trend line resistance it's at right now. I would not think to sell it, but at the same time, it's, you know, I'd be interested if this is, you know, if the 200-day moving average is coming into play here as well, as it is on the Australian dollar, US dollar, but it's having some trouble here. I like to sell off of resistance and buy off of support. And I just don't see a play here for myself. It's, and because I'm so uncertain about it, out of all the pairs we went over, I think the New Zealand dollar, US dollar, and the New Zealand dollar, Japanese yen were the two that I was just clearly uncertain about. And because of that, I need to just I stay away. If someone has a better look at this, um, if they could take a screenshot of their chart, go ahead and send it through the private message. That would be great. This looks a little more clearer to me, and here's why. Uh, First of all, just stepping back, New Zealand dollar, Swiss franc broke out of this year-long trend line, right? That's usually the sign of a big trend change. Since it broke out, right, it's come back down, it's tested the support. All right, this was the first opportunity to look towards getting long. Came back down, tested that support again, it held. And then you could see here it had a little bit of trouble, but it's held and resumed off this trend line. This looks really bullish. But I was looking down at the 8 hour. It looks good, right? It looks very bullish. And I think this is a better place to be focused than the US dollar right now. And then also if we look at the New Zealand dollar, Japanese yen, that looks good too. Yesterday looking at it was very difficult to discern any type of place to get into this trade. It just looks healthy now. Um, as far as getting into any type of long over there, though, that's not easy for me. I prefer to lean into this trend line if you get a retest of it, um, and trade off of the support. But if you're holding New Zealand dollar, Japanese yen long, that looks great. I think the Australian dollar though is much stronger than the New Zealand dollar today, whether it's versus the yen, the franc, or the dollar. It's the Australian dollar that's really the stronger of the two, and it's really a good idea to go towards the strength. Always play towards the strength and weaknesses. Which breakout are you looking at? I don't see a breakout anywhere. So really quick over here, I'm on the page guidelines what to do. This is for the type of trading we do during the live streams. We always wait for the daily candle to close above or below resistance to confirm it's a break. And then we always wait for a retest of that broken support and resistance before taking the trade, right? So we never take breakouts. We breakouts are always a poor, sometimes they work out, but overall it's a poor way to trade. What we do is we wait for, over here, look over here, and we're looking at the Australian dollar, Japanese yen. You could see this trend line. Here was the breakout. If you played the breakout here, gravy, that was great. Normally you don't get that type of movement. We came into the resistance. Here was an opportunity to get long, and here was the test of the broken of the support, and this trend line support here. This was the great area to get long, right? We always wait for the breakout and the retest. You could see that play out over and over again on the euro US dollar, which is, again, here's the breakout. Here's the test of support. There you get long. Always wait for the breakout to come back and test that broken resistance and support, and then wait for price to get you into that trade back towards the new direction. Reb, so right now we have about 1 hour to the 55 minutes to the London close. Right now is we're coming into the Friday of the weekend, and we're coming into next week, a big holiday week. Right now is the time to be winding down positions, and don't really want to focus on new positions if you're not in one right now, that's for sure. Better yet, and sincerely, go ahead and take a look at some of these replays on the channel and figure out what we're doing, how we're doing it, and then you will sincerely be able to answer that question for yourself. And that's the idea here, is not to give you buy and sell signals. I do let everyone know when I'm entering trades and where I'm entering it, but it's to get you to be able to, no matter what your trading style is to build off of what is offered here, and to better yourself, and learn how to recognize setups for yourself. You know, I do my analysis off the daily, adding my support and resistance levels in. I trade off of them. I'm buying off of support and I'm selling off of resistance always. Trend lines and chart patterns, and I do that that off the daily, and then come down to the 8 hour where I look to enter my trades during London and New York. You might be trading a different time frame. That's okay. You could take a lot from the what we do here, and it's really going to help your trading. Right now, today, you have a strong pound. You have a very weak Canadian dollar. You have strong Australian dollar, strong New Zealand dollar, and weak Japanese yen, weak US dollar. Focus on the strengths against the weaknesses. Right, and it's really hard too. Like, so again, the thing about trading is that you have a trillion, you have almost unlimited different amount of variables, and you get to make the rules, right? So no one can really tell you what to do. I could tell you, go ahead and follow this. This is a black and white system with rule-based system. There's no discretion whatsoever. And you could follow this and you can make 20% a year. But how many people will do that? And especially since signals are weeks or months apart, you know, I don't think many people have the discipline or the fortitude to do it, but it's very easy. Watch the video. Very easy. It's black and white, and is all you need to make money out of the markets. But nevertheless, by watching this video and learning the money management and the risk management that's displayed here, that will help you trading no matter how you trade or what you trade or what time frame you trade, learning from that. So, but in this channel, in this group together, in this community that is growing and I really enjoy, we don't have degenerates in here. No one is looking to gamble. No one is taking that type of approach. We're very serious about what we do here. We do it in a very, very mindful and systematic manner. And there are all over YouTube, I'm sure you could find other people who are just kind of like gamblers. That's not the way to make money. I'm only here to make money. And, you know, I think we're the opposite of that here. And if that's what you're looking for, welcome. I agree with that. 100% I agree with that. And, you know, I think most people gamble because they trade without a plan and they have no idea what they're doing. They have no idea what works. I sincerely believe that. I know that once you find out what works, discipline is not even a thing anymore. There's no question about it. What else are you going to do? You just want to make money. So that's why I take 3 trades a week, more or less, right? I have all the patience in the world. I'm not worried about it. I'm picky about my setups. I wait for them to come to me. I know what I like and I take it. There are people who just place a trade to be in a trade, and like maybe right here they buy the euro US dollar and then they start doing their analysis around it. And that's trading without a plan. That's not systematic. That's gambling. But most people, they don't really have the proper guidance. I know it's around on the internet, and that's the frustrating part. Though I believe if you go ahead and you learn and follow this, this is what I would teach my kids first when they're old enough, right? And so that's frustrating that there are people out there that might come across this that might be losing money and won't spend the time, but I can't do that. There are people here, and there are people here that definitely are the foundation of the community. They're here all the time. They're learning and growing. Like, they get it. They're gonna get it, and that's what's important to me. Yeah, so true. I mean, I think of it like fishing. Like, fishing's pretty boring, right? You just kind of like you throw your line in there. I'm not a fisherman. I don't know that it's boring, but you throw your line in there, you wait, and you throw in your line where you expect there's going to be fish. Like you've done it 100 times, 1,000 times before, so you know what you're doing. And while you're waiting, you have no problem waiting because you know you're going to catch a fish. Like that's what trading is to me. It's like, you know, when the setup comes to you, take the setup, and that's it. You know it's either going to work out or it's not going to work out. But because you're taking high probability setups with good risk to reward, it works out over in the long term. So true, Hanero. And I also love learning from the trades I don't take. Like yesterday in the live stream, we said right here how that would be an entry. We're gonna follow this one because this looks like it's a good one. I'm not taking it because I was involved in 2 trades, but then seeing how they play out, like I learned as much from the trades I don't take as much from the trades I take over and over again. I think it's so important. And not to be like, you have to be detached. You can't be emotionally attached. It doesn't matter. I don't care that I missed this trade at all. I'm glad I saw it developing, and I'm glad it played out as I thought it would be played. That's more important to me. It is interesting seeing the dollar weaker than the Australian dollar, weaker than the New Zealand dollar, but much stronger than the euro playing out today. Again, I'll be sending out the updates to the group during the holiday through here. If you click on the group updates, go ahead and if you're not already on that list, get on that list. And also, if you haven't already checked out, this was just put online yesterday. This is basically a summary of everything we do in here, outlined. You could go ahead and just get involved in that as well. Blair, if as you read, you're the type that highlights stuff. I know you can do that digitally now as well. If you're reading it digitally, if you're not reading in print, if you're doing your print, you can't. But if you're highlighting stuff or anything stands out, send them my way. I'll share it with everyone. So I just want to check out the Euro Australian dollar. I know there's no entry now, but she's definitely breaking down, and I believe that has the chance to continue for some time now. This is ugly. Plumb line, we'll take a look at that in a moment together. Mima, just go into the description of the video you're watching right now and just go down to these resources and links and click on forex.substack. And that's where I just created this. That's where we'll be sending out the group updates. We haven't looked at this today at all. Australian dollar, Swiss franc. All right, so jumping back here on the daily, the last thing I see, so resistance and support, right? These are the ones in play. It's not a pair I often look at. I don't know how accurate this one is up here. I would definitely take a better look at that. So it's also sideways though. I generally don't trade this type of market, but excellent entry to get in down there off the support. I want to look at that on the 8-hour and see what that looks like a little bit better. You can see the range really well there between the support and the resistance being played out. And this is the type of trade we do take though, into the support, buying off the support. And if you're in this trade, so this is how I would think through this trade if I'm in it. I know that the Australian dollar is relatively really strong right now. I definitely see price right now trading into resistance right here. Whereas the resistance, you could see here where my mouse is, this was resistance. Once it broke, that same level was support. And then it's held as resistance all through here. It did break up and go to the largest one. Is that going to happen again right now? I don't know. So you're at a small resistance level right now. It's light resistance, but you're at a resistance level. You're coming into the London close here in about a half hour, 35 minutes. So that could potentially be a time of day where markets, that's the move of the day. Markets, back off there a little, retrace a bit. You're coming into a weekend and you're coming into a holiday next week. So it's up to you. I'm looking to exit my positions during this next half hour as we come into Friday over the weekend and looking into the next week, which is a holiday week. The markets are open here on the 23rd, and that's an individual decision. But this is the things that you want to be looking at and discerning. There's nothing on the calendar that affects your pair, so you don't have to worry about that. And it's not to say that we don't continue up and clear here. Price has been overbought for a while. You can see the entry CCI is coming up. Normally against this type of resistance, you might see a little bit of a pullback. I don't know. That's just how I'm not trying to tell you what to do or how to manage your position. I'm telling you what I see and giving you exactly how I would talk myself through it so that you can make your decision about what you think's best to do. King, Euro US dollar is coming down, getting close to support right now. Let's take a look at it. What's going on? You can see the support down here. Prices after this is a clean break. I just want to look on a small time frame, see if it even came back. There's the break, came back up, tested the broken support, and then since then it's been a one-way street down. The next level that I'm looking at is this support down here, right? Down at 1.1068 area. And also on the DXY, you could see that also pretty clear. You have this resistance level up there. So that's take profit level. I don't think you want to be looking to buy off that support coming into, Friday. Well, you wouldn't have an entry yet anyway. And then you also have next week's a holiday week. I really think everyone should really consider that it's a low liquidity environment. It's not the type of environment you want to be trading in. It's the type of environment, if you have some time, that you want to be learning, studying, working on yourself. Next week, you don't want to be taking trades now, Friday going into a holiday week. You want to be looking to take profits or get out of trades. Awesome. That's what we do here. That's what we do. We build each other up, help each other out. And, it's nice to have community. Trading by itself is lonely. It's not really the best environment to be in. Having others to be able to kind of sharpen yourself off of is a good thing. And 100%. We have about a half hour until the London close. Always be aware. I was hoping we'd get a run into the support level coming into London close. It's beautiful when things work out as you hope they do. I'm gonna take a 5-minute break here. You might see charts move. I'm actually here. I just need to rest my voice for a minute. Yeah. Oh no, I'm so sorry about that. I thought that whole time there was sound. When you guys earlier mentioned that there wasn't sound, I put back on the headphones and thought I was talking into it, but it was muted. I apologize that. I definitely need to recover what it just had spoken about. And I highlighted this in thinking percentage terms, not in dollar terms. And this also relates to pips. All right. Don't think in pips as far as I'm only going to risk 50 pips per trade. And you can't do that because here's why. You need to think in percentage terms, right? If you're risking 1% or 0.5%, trade your position size according to that. But over here on the US dollar, Canadian dollar, all right, if you were leaning off of this resistance right here and selling, if price made a lower low, and your stop, where would your stop need to be? My stop would be all the way up here, which is really far away. It's like 70 pips, above this strong resistance area over here. Therefore, if I want to have my position size, 1% or 0.5%, it would have to be done accordingly. Whereas if price gets closer to this pocket over here and is rejected by this resistance, now my stop is in the same place right over here. So my position size is going to be much bigger because my stop is much smaller. So always don't think in a set amount of pips. It depends where you're when you're selling, where the resistance is, when you're buying, where the support is, how far away it is, and set your position size accordingly. And yeah, that's what I'm focused on too. We have about 8 minutes into the London close here. Normally you see that last push, that spike into it. And it's not, there's a fine line between being smart and being greedy. That's good advice there, Chris. And definitely as a trader, you need to find out what works for you. Sincerely, if you're not yet making money in the markets, stick closely to what we're doing here because you will be. Um, and always explore. Always explore. We have that written down somewhere over here. Always be learning. Um, and that's what's good about being around other people too. It gives you the opportunity to keep pushing and exploring yourself. I'm always looking to learn more and grow as a trader. Um,
I think it's just observing here. It's really important too. So Chris might not have stop losses in, but he is hedging his trades. If unless you're trading with that type of approach, uh, make sure you have stop losses in, right? Because it's so much easier to take your tight stop losses. Don't ever, unless you know what you're doing and make money in the markets, risk more than 1% on a trade of your account, right? Um, so and do not ever trade with a stop loss. It's so much easier to take setups with favorable risk to rewards, and you could get stopped out. You could get stopped out, over 60% of the time. Have like a 40% win ratio and make money consistently out of the markets. Chris is definitely trading a style that he's comfortable with. He knows what he's doing. Obviously, it's not recommended. If you don't yet know what you're doing in the markets. All right, everyone. That's a pretty good way to wrap up this month, this week. I definitely, sincerely from the bottom of my heart, wish you all a really, really Merry Christmas. For those of you who are not celebrating the holiday, that you are have the opportunity to spend some really good time with close family and friends. I enjoy all the friendships being developed here. I really do appreciate it. I love it, and for all of you who are just joining us for the first time, welcome. We have a really good thing going on here, and I'm glad for whatever you could bring to that, and help just continue to help that flourish and grow. I will be sending out updates to everyone as far as what our schedule looks like. Um, if there's anything else worth sharing, I'm never going to be, get. I don't like email personally too much, so I'm not going to be flooding you with updates. Only important ones. They'll be sent out through the forex.substack.com update system. And that's it. I really look forward to catching up together, spending more. The next live stream will be on January the 6th. I wish you all the best. Thank you for helping making me a better trader. Um, and uh, and that's it, everyone. I'll talk to you later. So, I don't know what Prince, that can't happen again, and there's no reason for that ever happening again. And you can never blow up an account if you start using the correct position size. More than anything in the world, please start here, and over the next 2 weeks, you should be able to know this information better than anyone, better than myself, as far as where it is on the site. Really study it. Start here and follow this. Do this under a demo. You do not need to waste any more money, because money is a precious resource. Capital is irreplaceable, and the more money you have, the more you'll be able to grow it as soon as you figure out how to grow that money. All right. So trade on a demo account. All right, start trading on a demo account, really zero in on what we're doing. And I sincerely think you're saying that you've blown 4 accounts in 2 months. I think by the end of March, by the end of April, if you do not trade live, if you trade on a demo account, you work with us and you follow doing exactly what we're doing, and not like, hey, don't use what I'm saying here to build off your own strategy. Follow exactly what I'm doing and how I'm doing it. And by the end of April on a demo, you will be profitable. Then you could go live and then you can make money. 4 months to be able to it's almost impossible for a trader to become profitable in 4 months, right? Do it. Do what we're doing here, and it'll work for you. That's it, everyone. That's it, everyone. I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful vacation. I'll talk to you all later, and thanks again.